encouraging talk. And in verse 16, it says, and he took the children in his arms, put his hands on them, and he blessed them. He blessed them. And I believe what that means is not just, and I'm sure he prayed for them, I'm sure he put his hands on and prayed for them, but blessing them. Giving them an encouraging blessing that it will go well, that you will do good. Encouraging words. Words that build up, not words that tear down. I was in a public place the other day, and there was a lot of people there, and there was a group that was sitting there, and it looked like some of the kids were with the group. It was a group of adults, but a couple of the kids had come along, and it was a little bit like the video where the mom was having the daughter go do something, and it was not real harsh, but the words that were used were not building that person up. She was highlighting some of the mistakes to the other ladies that girl had done, and it was totally in earshot of that young woman, and she heard it. And the message that she heard was not a message of blessing, but it was a message of man, you messed up. This is the way you are. And then a few snickers from the other ladies about what that girl had done. Now, I promise you that is something that will stick with that young lady for a long time. Unfortunately, even the best parents, if we don't watch it, we can say things that do not build up and tear down. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't correct, because you should, definitely. But there's a way, even with correcting, that you can do it in a way that builds a person and doesn't tear them down. You know, some of the things that I try to do with my kids, and it's so weird, when I do this, I can see the gleam in their eye. When I do this, is I'll take Luke and I'll grab him and I'll pull him over to the side and I'll say, Lukey, man, you did such a good job. I saw what you brought home in your backpack. Man, that was a cool drawing that you did of Bigfoot. That was just awesome, you know. And I'll just hug him and say, good job, buddy. Look at me, and I high five. That's awesome. And then at night when I pray for him, I'll thank God so they can hear. I'll say, God, I thank you for Luke. I thank you for Christian. I thank you that he's going to grow up to be a man of God. And he's going to follow after you. And he always does what's right. And I pray that because I mean that prayer, but I also like for him to hear that prayer. Because he's getting in his mind, man, Dad is blessing me. And I see it with Karis. You know, she'll come at 6:30 in the morning this morning. She came into our room. The alarm clock hadn't even gone off yet. And she comes in and she'll jump up in bed with us. She comes right up to me, and I just, you know, in the morning you don't want anything that close to your face. But here she is with her nose pressed up close to your face, smiling, and she'll, you know, stick her hand out and beep, you know, hit my nose and go beep. I don't know why she does that, but she likes to do that, you know. And I'll just grab her and I'll just say, Karis, I love you, man. You're my daughter. You were so pretty. And I'll tell her that, and then she'll go, Daddy, you stink, and she'll push me away because it's the first in the morning and I stink, you know. But I try to do that and tell her that, and I can just see the gleam in her eye when she does that, and it smiles. I tell you what that does is that builds confidence. It builds confidence. It builds them up. I can remember something that my mom did, and I don't know if she remembers this. When I was real little, I remember I was laying on the couch, and she had asked me to pray about something. And she said, you know, Andrew, one of the things that makes you really special is that I know that you'll pray. And I was like, wow, that makes me special if I pray? And I don't know if you remember telling me that or not. Do you remember that? Maybe she does remember that. She said that, but the thing that got me was I didn't pray every night. And when she said that, I thought, oh my gosh, I better do that. And so you know what? I started praying from that day on. I started praying, and I equated that with, man, this is something that I need to do this. It makes me special to do that. And that way, I can't say that one instance is the reason why I went into the ministry, but I think it's one of those things that helped me to have that in me that said, man, I want to do something for God because that's special. It's encouraging talk. It goes so much further. One of the things a lot of parents have told me is they've talked to their grown children, and they've asked their grown children, hey, what was some of the things that you remember back in the day that you enjoyed? And of course, the parent had an idea, oh, it was when we went to Disneyland, and so we went on this picnic, and it was the day that you got your first bike, and I helped you ride it, and I took the pictures of you. And that's what the parent has in mind. But they'll say, what was your best memory? And the kid will say something like, oh, it was that time whenever you and I sat down and we did this. And it's something that the parent a lot of times doesn't even remember. But there were some words that were said, and there was something that was given that they remembered, and it changed them. And that is a powerful, powerful thing. Look at this, Matthew 3:17. Okay, we've got God the Father, we've got Jesus the Son. And here's what God the Father did in an audible voice. Now, there's not a lot of times in the Bible where you hear the audible voice of God. There are some times, but they're rare. But here's one. Look what he says about his Son. Matthew 3:17. A voice from heaven said, "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased." With him I am well pleased. That was the blessing of the Father on his Son. I don't know about you, but I want to be that way with my kids. Loving touch, abundant time, encouraging talk. Here's how it goes right here. And I'm only 8 years into the deal. Some of you guys are 20 years into the deal, or 30 years into the deal of parenting. And you know it better than I do, but here's what I've noticed, and I think that you will agree with me, is this. Here's what happens. Kids are born. You blink your eyes, and all of a sudden they're crawling across the floor. You look at them crawling across the floor, blink your eyes, and then they're walking across the room. You look at them walking across the room, you blink their eyes. Blink your eyes, you open them, and they're getting on the bus to go to school. You close your eyes, you blink your eyes, and you open them up again, and those kids are going off to college. You close your eyes, you blink, and they're getting married. And then before you know it, they're out of your home, and it's like, where did that time go? Do not waste this time. For those of you that have kids still in the home now, don't waste the time. It's a vapor. It's vanishing. It's fleeting. You are the best hope. You and God are the best hope for your kids to grow up to be people that will go after God. For those of you that have kids that are out of the home, you may think, gosh, I wish I would have done that. Maybe your role has changed a little bit. But I would even encourage you, even with your kids are out of the home, do not underestimate the power of what you still have with them. You may think in your mind and your heart, they will not listen to me, they have totally written me off. Well, okay, start with prayer. Talk to God about them. And when you talk to them, try to do some of this stuff. Don't be surprised. I remember when I was a grown man, and I remember there was one time where I was going through something a little bit rough, and I remember my father, at one moment, he just put his hand on my back. And I knew what he meant because he knew I was going through a hard time. And just to have that touch, it meant something to me. And I was a grown person. Don't underestimate what you can do, okay? Would you guys close your eyes? Bow your heads. And Brad's going to come on up here and play a little